Let's raise the roof for the final time. It's Preet, Singh. Give it up.
Another one. There have been more brown dudes on this stage than an Ilford family barbecue. I should have known, because when I opened that green room door, all that hit me was a wall of Paco Rabanne. The entire car park is just white BMWs with loud exhausts. Fucking love it. Maybe your friends were right. There are too many of us in this country. As you guys have guessed, I am brown. It was tricky growing up brown here in the UK though, because I had a job when I was 8 years old. I was a live-in translator for my parents. Doctors, opticians, banks. I was the only 8-year-old in my entire school that had a mortgage consultation in their diary. Kids would always come up to me in the playground Preet, do you want to come play football with us? I'd always have to turn them down no can do, Billy. That fixed rate interest isn't going to find itself now, is it? Move it along, Billy. Go read your Biff and Chip books. I've got terms and conditions. I used to get taken to these appointments with my parents, right? And the people there would never take us seriously. My parents would walk in, I'd walk in after them, and they'd always react in that annoying white person patronizing voice hey, Mr. and Mrs. Singh, perhaps your son can wait outside? My dad would panic and go, no, he stays. Jal, do the business. I was a smug kid, so I let that go to my head well, Barry. Looks like you'll be dealing with me now. Call me Mr. Singh. That's 2 coffees and 12 Ribenas. Don't ask questions, Barry. I would feel bad for Barry, though, because as a kid, I had quite severe ADHD. So he'd be trying to tell me important shit about the mortgage, and I'd be throwing shapes. Mr. Singh, the residual on this mortgage. Yes, Barry. Tell me more about the overpayments. Barry didn't know whether to call Child Protective Services or a fucking exorcist. It was brilliant. It wasn't all bad, though, because I used to get taken to my own parents' evening to translate. I was a terrible kid. That was a golden ticket. True story, in November of year 8, I got suspended from school for 3 days for hitting a kid in the head with a keyboard. I ain't got time to dive into that now. That ended with my parents writing the school a thank you letter for their diversity and inclusion policy because I told them they gave me 3 extra days off with Diwali. People always, it was school. It was year 2, I remember this vividly. It was year 2 that I realized I wasn't like the majority white kids in my school. Because they set us a piece of homework which was to write up how your parents met, present it to the class the next day. Jenny goes first. She's like, my mummy met my daddy at university. Mummy had a pass, daddy didn't care, love. I had to go next. My mummy met my daddy on their wedding day. My mummy isn't sure if she loves my daddy yet. She married him because her dad said so. To my surprise, the teacher got angry at me. She was like, get out of my classroom, that's not how people fall in love. I was a spicy kid, so I responded back with, what, miss? You can't be angry at my mum for having honor. She's not a slag like Jenny's mum, is she? Don't know why that teacher was so angry. People always say, stand-up's got to be a lot of pressure, and the truth is, it's not, right? Because real pressure is being 11 years old and being taken to your mother's gynecologist appointment. We've got a lot of Punjabi people in. What's the Punjabi word for period? There isn't one. That means 11-year-old me had to look my mum directly in the eyes and be like, you know when your pussy bleeds? That's pressure. The worst thing that happens here tonight is that you guys don't laugh at something I say. The worst thing that happens in that context is I fuck up the birth control translation and end up with my inheritance halved. That's high stakes. I'm coming up to my time now, and I've realised I've broken my belt, and this is hanging out.